Welcome! Thank you for joining me today in this video. The topic of this video will be the best spots for rail fanning around Lakeland, Florida. For this video, I am only including along the A line from Winston to downtown Lakeland and the Vitis Subdivision from the junction with the A line up to Kathleen. This does not include the Bone Valley Subdivision south of Winston. That may be a topic for a future video. But today I will be sharing the best spots in Lakeland as well as what you can expect as far as trains in these spots. So let's get started. The first spot will be the Winston Wye. Here you can see all the trains coming in and out of Winston on the north end of the yard. A good spot is this dead-end road right in the middle of the Y. Along this spot you will see locals in addition to some manifest freight trains that go in and out of the yard. You can also go to the end of the road up to the guardrails and see trains that go by but do not stop at the yard. Examples of those trains would be Amtrak and the intermodal train. I'll get to specific trains and timing of trains a little later in the video. But one drawback of this spot is that there are no close restrooms or spots for refreshments immediately nearby. You need to go out onto the main road about a mile away to the gas stations at the corner of New Tampa and Airport Road. Just down the road from there is Wabash Avenue. Here you can park next to the tracks and see most Winston-bound trains in addition to Amtrak trains. This spot has pretty good visibility down the tracks, so you can see trains coming from a good distance. If you need refreshments or a restroom, there is a CVS nearby and a Subway as well as Mega Mercado restaurant and store. A little more down the road is the old Goddard Foodservice property, and on the opposite side of the tracks is the old Amtrak station. Right here you can see Winston-bound trains in addition to locals and Amtrak. And in this spot you can get a good look at the signal tower, which can help you determine if anything is heading your way soon. Now I cannot stress this enough, if you want to get to the other side of the tracks, please do not cross the tracks here. That is very dangerous and illegal. It will be a bit of a drive and takes a few minutes to get from one side to the other, but it's legal and much safer. If you need restrooms and refreshments, you're not going to have much luck over here. Next stop is Lakeland Amtrak Station. 2 Amtrak trains stop here each day, but unlike most other Amtrak stations, each train makes 2 stops at Lakeland each day. This is due to Amtrak 40 and 41 going to Tampa and back. Since Tampa is a dead end on the route, trains go from Lakeland to Tampa and then back. The first stop is drop-off only, while the second stop is pickup only. This is done so Lakeland passengers do not have to sit through the Tampa leg of the trip. If you need a bite to eat or a restroom, the Joinery is a couple doors down from the station. This place features as many food options as well as restrooms. There is even outdoor seating in the back of the building right next to the tracks, so you can still catch some train action while you're enjoying your meal. While we are in the downtown area, Missouri Avenue is a good spot to check out, right behind the post office. You can see the signal which can tell you if a train is heading your way. There is usually plenty of good street parking there, as it is the less busy part of downtown. I warn you, do not park in a lot with a blue sign that says 717, any other company name, or City of Lakeland. You will get ticketed. Downtown Lakeland has free street parking up to 2 hours, and the city-owned garages are free after 3 p.m. and all day on weekends. Be sure to check the signage near the lot entrances if you are going to park in a lot. Another good spot is People's Lane. This is right off Kathleen Road, just north of Lakeland Connection. Train M453 usually ties down here every day for a couple hours as the train awaits a new crew. In addition to M453, you will see manifests to and from Winston, a local, and a few other trains in this spot. This is also not another good spot if you need restroom or a refreshment nearby. Just on the opposite side of the tracks and down the road a little bit is Bonnet Springs Park. You can see all the trains you would see at People's Lanes, but there are refreshments and restrooms over on this side of the tracks. There is a cafe in the park, as well as Starbucks and a rooftop bar. Also in the Welcome Center, on the top floor, is a mini railroad museum, and there are even displays that teach you all about the railroad in the area. This park was actually built on the site of an old railroad yard. You can see a display there that tells you all about it. One drawback on this spot is that the chain link fence may make it more challenging if you want to take good photos or videos. but there is a hill that can give you a good vantage point. Next stop is Oak Avenue in Kathleen. Here you can see a signal for southbound trains. If you see a green signal, a train shouldn't be too far away. If you want to see the northbound signal, go down to Deason Road and look north on the tracks. The signal is still visible from there. This is a more quiet spot, so not much traffic and noise here. If you need restrooms or refreshments, you need to go about a mile down the road. My personal recommendation for this area would be Nick and Moe's at the intersection of Kathleen and Galloway. They have good fried chickens and wings in there, in addition to other hot foods, Quiznos, and Pizza Hut pizzas. It's right along the tracks, so you can still see some trains. The local train serves a chemical company right near there. Honorable mention is the Interstate for Overpass on the Vitis Subdivision. This can make some good photos if you happen to catch a train here. Just go down Bella Vista Street and you will have a good view of the overpass. This overpass is currently being reconstructed and will be double-tracked upon completion. The construction equipment can obstruct your view if you are there on a work day. So how many trains can you see and what can you expect at a particular time of the day? I'm going to cover that part right now. I'll tell you the timing on these trains, but they can vary day by day depending on a number of factors such as crew availability, rail traffic, track maintenance curfews, or any other reasons. Here are the trains. M452. M452 is a daily Miami to Waycross manifest train. You can usually expect it during the morning hours. It tends to be in Lakeland anywhere between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. The timing on this can vary day by day. It normally goes through downtown Lakeland and turns north onto the Vitis Subdivision and will change crew at 10th Street. Sometimes it may stop in Winston or go to Plant City to turn north onto the S line, but that is less common. M453 is the southbound counterpart to M452. M453 is a daily Waycross to Miami manifest train. This train typically comes into Lakeland from the north on the Vitis Subdivision and will tie down at People's Lane for a while until a new crew arrives. Sometimes this train may stop in Winston or take the S line and turn at Plant City depending on rail traffic or if the local is working on the Vitis sub. M453 typically arrives in Lakeland late morning or early afternoon depending on if it had other stops along the way. M453 also stops at Baldwin and will sometimes stop at Wildwood before making its way to Lakeland. M457 is a daily manifest train from Waycross to Orlando. This train usually comes into Lakeland from the north on the Vitis Subdivision. This train typically arrives in Lakeland between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. This train will turn at Lakeland Junction and go downtown and then continue on to Orlando. M604 is a daily Winston to Waycross manifest train. This train typically leaves Winston around mid-afternoon, around or after 2 p.m. This train can either take the Vitis sub to go north or go to Plant City before making the turn north. M603 is the southbound counterpart to M604. This train typically arrives in the evening. As with 604, it can either come in on the Vitis sub or it can come in from the Plant City side. L729 is a daily rock train from Winston to Brown Sand, Georgia. The timing on this train can vary. I have seen it at different times of the day. Typically it leaves during the morning hours. It can be early in the morning or more towards the afternoon. If you see a train with mostly rock hoppers heading north, it is most likely L729. L743 is the southbound. Unlike other trains where the opposite direction counterpart is a number off, such is not the case here. The timing on this train seems to be variable, but it typically either comes in the later afternoon or into the evening or night hours by the time it reaches Lakeland. L772. This train is a local train that goes from Winston to Davenport and also works the Auburndale area. This train typically leaves Winston during the morning hours after 8 a.m. and will return to Winston during the afternoon hours depending on if they had cars to pick up from Auburndale or Davenport. Sometimes this train may run engines light in one of the directions if there are no cars to pick up or drop off. Now we will talk about intermodal trains. I-044 is the daily intermodal train from Tampa to Jacksonville. This train goes up the A line to Lakeland Junction and then turns left onto the Vitis Subdivision to go northward towards Jacksonville. This train goes by I-144 on Sundays. This train typically follows Amtrak 40 if it's on time. It usually comes with minutes of Amtrak 40 going through Lakeland, but sometimes it may precede Amtrak 40 and leave Tampa when 40 goes past the yard and goes into the Tampa station, since I-044 will have a bit of a window to leave. Intermodal trains are high priority, and CSX will get them out at any opportunity they can once the train is ready to go. I-045 or I-145 on Sundays is the inbound intermodal to Tampa from Jacksonville. You will not catch this train in daylight since it typically doesn't arrive until after 10 p.m. There are also two other intermodals that you can catch at night. I178, which is a daily intermodal from Winter Haven to Jacksonville, and I177 from Jacksonville to Winter Haven. These trains are typically late night trains and use the A line from Auburndale to Lakeland and the Vitis Subdivision to the north. Now we will talk about coal trains. Sometimes you might be able to catch a coal train going through Lakeland. The symbol is usually C040, but it may have a different number sometimes, but it will start with a C. It typically originates in Evansville, Indiana. The coal trains go to the OUC power plant in Orlando. After the coal train is unloaded at the power plant, usually around the next day, it will run back the opposite way as E040. Now we will talk about local trains. There are a few local trains that you may catch here in the Lakeland area. There are many businesses here that get shipments by rail. One train here is the Vitis Subdivision local, which goes by the train ID of L762. This train services Cary Transit and Relodyne, located near the intersection of Kathleen Road and Knight Station Road. And it also services AOC Resins up near Kathleen and Owens Corning around Fairbanks Avenue. This train typically runs during the morning and afternoon hours. Another local train runs on the CH Spur just past the Amtrak station. This train services Hexion, PCA, and Azteca Milling down in the Eaton Park area off of Comby Road. If you go along Main Avenue, you can watch them switching Azteca and PCA. This train usually runs in the morning or afternoon. You may be able to catch it as it sits by the Amtrak station awaiting clearance to return to Winston. The two previously mentioned locals may also service some customers along the A line. Another good local to catch is Y220. This train services the Park Spur east of town. The main customer along this line is Saddle Creek Logistics. This local typically has a few boxcars and some refrigerated cars. This train typically leaves late afternoon or early evening. It typically leaves after Amtrak 40 comes back from Tampa. Now we will talk about Amtrak. Lakeland has two Amtraks that come through daily, once in each direction, so you have 4 opportunities to see them. Amtrak Floridian 41 is scheduled to arrive at Lakeland at 8:40 a.m. if it is on time. It usually stays in the station for a couple minutes before departing again to Tampa. After the train goes to Tampa, it comes back to Lakeland, and the normal scheduled time for the return trip is 1:17 p.m. Amtrak 40 is the northbound Floridian. It normally arrives in Lakeland around 3:36 p.m. This one is usually less delayed since it originates in Miami and has less opportunities to get delayed. After going to Tampa, it should arrive back in Lakeland at 5:19 p.m. There are still even more trains that I haven't covered here, such as phosphate trains that come up from the Bone Valley, or locals that go towards Plant City, but this is the majority of the trains that run regularly through Lakeland. Now I will talk about how to know when a train is coming. So how do you know if a train is coming? There isn't any perfect way to know for sure, but I will give you a few ideas on how you can find out if something is heading your way soon. First would be a radio scanner. You can listen in on the railroad radio to get an idea of where it may be coming your way. If you hear any of the train numbers that were covered in the last section, they are likely nearby or getting ready in the yard. The frequencies for the Lakeland area CSX are 160.590, which is the road frequency that the crew will talk on while they are out on the tracks to their destination, and for crews to communicate each other while out on the road, and you can hear defect detectors on this channel as well. 160.920 is the JA dispatcher frequency. The dispatcher uses this frequency to communicate with crews regarding their movement on the rails. 160.665 is the Winston yard frequency. This channel is used for yard crews to communicate. You can program these frequencies into your scanner radio or Transitdocs. This only applies to Amtrak. On this site, you can see where Amtrak trains are at any point in time. This site is not exactly in real time, so train locations may lag behind. These are only updated every so often, but should be good enough to give you a rough idea where any train is at any given time. Signals. This is also an easy way to tell if there is a train coming. Generally, if a signal is red, there is no train on the way. A train may have either just went by, or there is no train on the way at that point in time. If you see a green signal, that means that dispatch has given the clear for a train to proceed and something should be coming through at any time. You may have to wait for a while, but there should be something coming. A yellow signal is also an indicator that something should be on the way, but that tells the train crew to be prepared to stop at the next signal. Social media Railfan pages are a good way to know if something is coming. My favorite groups on Facebook are called Florida Railfans and Florida Train Reporting Page. The latter usually gives real-time or recent reports on each train that has passed in a certain area. You can also help contribute to that group if you spot any trains while you are out. Well, that's all I have for you for today, but just be sure to remember that information contained in this video is subject to change, as some trains can be modified or even abolished completely, as well as some new ones may be added. Well, thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Hope to see you again soon.